Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, we've got notifications sent out and people will be trickling in here shortly. I think I've got some interesting things to talk about today. So, the plan. Um, I did not get a video out this week, but there have been some happenings, I suppose, that I should mention. Um, I am now the owner. If I can move some cables around, I'm now the proud owner of. Go back to my screen. Uh, the beautiful ATEM Mini Pro. This actually arrived yesterday, a day ahead of schedule. I'm still in the process of setting it up, so today's video is being recorded with the webcam still. Hopefully by next week I'll have any other cables and extensions and things I need to kick this up a notch. So I'm looking forward to being able to bring in video sources from other computers and to just be able to take things to the next level. Good morning, David. Welcome. I don't know how long you've been watching, but I just showed off the ATEM Mini Pro that arrived yesterday from the Amazon. I'm still in the process of configuring it and getting software figured out and ready to roll. But I'm hoping that this week I'll be able to use it for a recorded video, and then by next week it will be used for the live stream if all goes well. So I guess we can talk about some news items. LibreOffice 7.3 was released on the 2nd of February, and their big push in this release was improved file importing and rendering, so bringing in files from other Office suites such as Microsoft Office. We also saw the release of Linux Lite 5.8. This is based on Ubuntu 20.04.3 LTS. It's got the 5.4 kernel, includes the utility Mint Stick, which is, as you could guess, it's a utility for creating USB drives, bootable USB drives, and it comes from the, get this, Linux Mint team. NeoFetch utility is included by default. It has the Papyrus icon theme, has updated software, and minimum system requirements. Now, we all know that you at least double to triple these to get a usable system, but minimum system requirements: 1 gigahertz processor, 768 megs of RAM, 8 gig hard drive or solid state, 1024 by 768 screen resolution, and a DVD drive or USB stick for installation. So we will talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. The one article that stuck out to me as interesting this week on the Linux and other news sites that I look at was one titled 10 Reasons Why People Quit Linux for Windows and Why They're Wrong. So I will go ahead and just drop that into chat in case anybody wants to take a look at that after the fact. I use my Elgato for what you're using that unit for. Yeah, this has some additional tricks that the Elgato can't do, though. You can live stream right from this bad boy without going through your computer. It's one of the little things that I learned about this unit, um, which makes it nice for like mobile live things if you take things out on the road at all, and have a area to set up with a wired network. Although there is an option that you can make this work with uh, other options as well. So if you get one of those little mini routers, I think I showed off. It was a yellow uh, little box that ran OpenWRT. Um, you could use that hooked to your cell phone hotspot and then do this over mobile. So that would be kind of interesting as well. I've got a few ideas and potential opportunities coming up where this is going to be useful. I just have to work out availability of some additional cameras in order to make this all happen. So, so far the setup has been pretty slick, but we'll see how that goes as things unfold. Okay, so the first big topic I wanted to talk about today is a piece of software called PlayOnLinux. Let me bring my screen back up here. So let me share. Oh, not that one. Let me share my screen. So PlayOnLinux is one of the options that are available to let people run Windows software on Linux, unmodified Windows software. So this is built on top of Wine. This is open source. Let me go back to my notes. Allows you to install Windows-based games, Microsoft Office, and they're reporting 2000 to 2010, as well as other applications. There are variants of this also available for Mac OS and FreeBSD under the names Play on Mac and Play on BSD. It's developed using a combination of Bash, Python, and WX which is a GUI framework. And there are alternatives available. You can go the hard route and you can install Wine and you can do all the configuration by hand yourself. There is also Crossover, which is a commercial product, and that development team actually modifies the Wine source code to optimize for operation of certain programs and games. And for Crossover, their main offerings are Crossover Linux, Crossover Mac, and Crossover Chrome OS. And you can find out more about that on their website at codeweavers.com. I'll throw that into chat. So I happen to have a fresh install of Linux Lite 5.8 here, and let's see, we want to do this option. Full screen that. I'll go ahead and log in. And to install PlayOnLinux, we're going to start by doing updates. Once this finishes loading, of course, there's going to be a welcome screen that we can just close out. So we're going to do the standard sudo apt update, sudo apt upgrade -y, and we'll let that run. So I went through the install of this on Linux Mint. I believe it was a Cinnamon edition the other day. And it went pretty well overall, the installation did. The software that they've got available through their direct install scheme, where it's got scripts to download the software and install and configure the software, my experience the other day was a little on the hit and miss side. So the first piece of software that I attempted to install with that was the Amazon Kindle app, and it pulled down a version of the Kindle app from 2017, which I find a little on the troubling side. But we'll work with this and we'll see what we can do today. Okay, to do the PlayOnLinux install, sudo apt install PlayOnLinux-y, and this operation may take a little while, although that looks like it's going pretty quick today. So this this is kind of interesting. I have purposely avoided running Windows apps on Linux. I feel like it's a crutch in a lot of ways, but I can understand that there are some use cases where people may find something like this interesting and useful. How much I will really use this in the long run, I'm not entirely sure, but I thought for the sake of expanding my knowledge base and for the viewers, many of whom are still Windows users, maybe this would be an interesting piece of software to explore, and that's what led me to doing the installs for this. So we're at 29%, so this is going to take a while. Good morning, Carlos. Welcome. So while we're waiting for this install, David, do you have a live stream coming up? Is it tonight? Is it another night? What did you decide on your schedule for that? Let's see. From Carlos, I see Linux Lite, pretty nice little distro to get things done in a flash. Yep. I installed this just before the live stream started. Did updates, and we're installing PlayOnLinux currently. let's see, tonight at 8:30. All right. So I may be a little late showing up. I've got um, I'm meeting with a guy at 6 o'clock to talk about some audio and video stuff. I may well be back by 8:30. I may be driving and just have it playing in the car, so I won't be able to comment. But if I'm able to join while I'm mobile, I will. Before I start driving, I'll throw something in chat, and then I will pick it up when I arrive back home safely. So, on network examples, mostly subnetting. All right. Somewhat tricky subject for many folks. Yes, it is. But there's a Unix utility for that. I won't say there's an app for that. There's a utility for that. All right. Really not sure how long it will take me to complete. Okay, so we've got PlayOnLinux installed with Linux Lite. So here's PlayOnLinux. And you've got some settings here we can look at. So there's file associations, there's plugins, and internet. Nothing we really need to change in the default setting. So we can go to install a program. And we can also install a non-listed program, which we might take a look at here as well. Maybe we can get something downloading to keep this moving. All right, let's do that. Okay, so let's see. Whoops. All right, let's try this again. Kindle Windows. So we will get past the ads and see if we can't download the apparently we got to be logged in to download that. So back to the drawing board. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got here with PlayOnLinux. We've got, this is the accessories. So Amazon Kindle is not going to be a go with this. This is an old version of Kindle. Let's see. Universal Extractor 2. Let's see. Let's do no CD needed. And we'll take off commercial. What is Beersmith? I don't know, just for the sake of argument. Let's choose Beersmith, and we'll install Beersmith. The only workaround is to use a no CD patch. Okay, let's try it. And of course, we follow through. I think we have to do the check there. Next. Next. And so it should download and install this. Okay, here's the installer, or the preparation part. It's going to set up wine. It's downloading the Beersmith executable. And hey, there's the Windows look that we all know. I'm going to do install. And finish. Alright, so Beersmith. Maybe it'll run. Maybe, there we go. Welcome to Beersmith 3 trial mode. Continue in trial mode. Okay, well, if you ever wanted to brew your own beer, there's an application for that. So far, so good. Let's try no CD needed. And skip the commercial stuff. Let's see. What do we have that looks interesting? Don't know what warp PLS is. Analysis particle least square. That's not something I will use. Okay, let's take a gamble on a game, I suppose. 8-bit killer. I'll take suggestions if anybody has a suggestion. Action Ball Deluxe. Looks like Breakout. Let's try that. Let's try that. Why not? So as you can see, this makes it pretty easy to install, at least from their list of Windows software. If we can come up with something interesting to try, I will happily download a Windows app and try it. Install. And we'll see what happens here. Install. And let's see. Maybe we'll get this to work. Microsoft fonts need to be installed. Which it handles for you. Let's see. I think the only few times I used PlayOnLinux, I used it to run PuTTY, Just realized it was available for Linux. It was my first month of Linux experience. Yep. I don't think I've ever run Putty on Linux. In fact, I was in a live stream with um, another YouTube creator, and I actually suggested or asked the question why they used Putty over just using OpenSSH on Windows. Recommend you uncheck all the checkboxes. I don't see any checkboxes. Okay, so we've encountered an error. Alright, well, that's fair. Not every program is going to work. Um, let's see. What else do we have in games that might be interesting? I'm sure some of the games won't run because I don't have the um, extra software for drivers installed on this particular VM yet. So let's jump out of games and let's look at another category. Oh, here we go. Microsoft Paint. Why not? Why not? This should be an easy one to run on Linux. And it should go fairly quick. Or run on Wine on top of Linux, I should say. um, so, anyway, yeah, I'm really kind of excited about this ATEM Mini Pro, and the different options it's got built in. I can show here, once we finish up with this install, I'll show the software that comes with it. Let's run Microsoft Paint. And would you look at that? And you can do all sorts of stupid things on this. And it doesn't have any noticeable lag that I can see. So that's, I suppose, novel. Not terribly interesting, but novel, I suppose. Just curious if this is going to, okay, so home, my user dot play on Linux, wine prefix, MS Paint, drive C, paint. So, yeah. Not sure how useful this really is, but we have installed 2 items here on Linux Lite using PlayOnLinux and Wine. Let's see. Let's see. Breakout. So we want to find a game that runs on Windows and is open source. Didn't find any games. How about that's free? Okay, well, let's see. Breakout, clone, Windows. Shatter. Retro-inspired brick breaking game. Okay. Paid proprietary. Do they have a free trial? That is a $50 million question. Popular alternatives. DX Ball. No longer developed, but still available to for download and purchase. Well, let's see if we can find DX Ball. Free download from CNET. Let's see. Well, we'll try that. Firefox for Windows 64-bit. We'll try it. That's the Linux version. Download for another operating system. We want Windows 64-bit. Save file. In downloads. Completed. Okay. Well, I'm going to install a non-listed program. Next. Install program in a new virtual drive. That seems solid. This is a little odd here. There's no place to type. Alright, so I guess that's not going so well. I don't know if they've got... Oh, they've got Firefox on the list here anyways. Let's see. Run the Windows version of Firefox on Linux. Why not? Let's see. English, US. both obsolete. That includes an older version of Wine, so I wonder what version of Firefox this is going to be. This should be interesting. So, fun fact, I've actually been using Firefox since it was originally called Phoenix. And then the BIOS company got their knickers in a twist, and then they renamed it Firebird. And there is an open source database called Firebird, and they got their knickers in a twist, and so they settled on Firefox. So it's been about 18 years that I've been running Firefox. Use Firefox as my default browser. Sure. Launch Firefox. Okay. Well, let's close this Linux copy of Firefox and we'll launch the Windows version and see what happens. Program error. And so this is going to be the magic loop that you're going to continue through to troubleshoot and get things to work. It's not the end of the world. They actually give you good logs that are available, and from what I've seen, the people that support Wine and PlayOnLinux and other things are pretty open to giving support for some of these issues. So all in all, I'd say this PlayOnLinux isn't going super well, but at the same time, there are things you can run, and in a pinch, if you don't have other options, which I can't see a scenario where that would happen, but it's possible. You could get by doing this. But it really would take a lot of trial and error. I see they've got a bunch of patches for different games here. The other piece that might be playing into this is since Linux Lite 5.8 is such a new release, I don't know if there's some incompatibility with this particular version of Linux Lite and some of the scripts used for PlayOnLinux. That is certainly a possibility. So we'll go ahead and quit that for the moment. It does put your icons on the desktop, which mimics very much a Windows environment. I myself prefer not to have extra icons on the desktop if I can avoid it. But I can see for transitions and for, people that like icons on their desktop, this might be a welcome thing. So, let's see. I'd expect the majority of software to fail, but you never know when PlayOnLinux and other might actually come in handy. Yes. Now, of course, going up a notch from PlayOnLinux to crossover for Linux, you might have a better experience overall. And you know, again, that's going to be a your mileage may vary type situation. But it it might be interesting to trial that software at some point. I think I used Crossover years and years ago. It's probably been more than 10 years since I've even experimented with it. And by all signs of posts in the news channels that I follow, the support for Crossover has got better over the years. So take a look at Code Weavers, and like I mentioned before, they've got Crossover for Linux, Mac OS, and Chrome OS, and they do have an extensive compatibility database that you can browse and look at, you know, top lists. A lot of these are going to be games, but it does support Word 2007, Office 2013. I don't know why you'd want to do it, but Internet Explorer 7, and even Skyrim. And so, you know, there are options out there if you're determined to make the switch from Windows to Linux. There's a learning curve, and you know that's one of the things that people neglect to consider. You know, they might like the look of Linux, but when they get into it and realize, oh, this is different than Windows and it's hard, quote unquote, I suppose, a lot of people give up before they really give it a chance. And they don't take into consideration that when they started with Windows, there was a learning curve. So, but on that note, let's take a look at the software that controls the ATEM Mini really quick. So they use the same software for the ATEM Mini Pro as they do for the Mini, as they do for the bigger switchers, which is why you'll see a number of buttons here grayed out. It's the same software. It is based on the serial number of the unit you actually have. Right now I've just got the one camera plugged in, and I've got a lot of experimentation to do this week before I'm ready to use this for the live stream a week from now. But this is pretty slick. You've got the program buttons, you can switch, you can do different transitions. You've got a T-bar, just like you would in a production studio. You can set the rate for a fade to black. You can record from this directly to disk. You know, you can have media plugged into it for still images, so that's an option. This audio mixer that's built in, so each video channel has stereo input over HDMI, Plus, there are two microphone jacks that can essentially be split, so you've got four separate. I'm actually going to run in from my Behringer audio interface into one of the quarter inch, or excuse me, one of the eighth inch inputs on the back. The other one I'm going to try out using a lapel mic that I've got, which is just something that you could use on a cell phone. It's got the eighth inch connector on it already. But I have not really even scratched the surface of this. I just got it really unpacked and started looking at it this morning. But this is definitely going to offer some pretty interesting possibilities. So this also has a multi-view option where you can have a secondary monitor that will show all four cameras, and which one is live and which one is being prepared to go live, and anything else that you've got set up for that. So you can set your frame rates up to 1080 60. There should be a switcher connected. You can use the buttons in the software to do switching, and it will actually move the lights on the buttons on the physical unit. You can set the previews, and then do your cuts either using the T-bar. So I moved it from cam 1 to cam 3, and we can go back to cam 1, and if we wanted to go to cam 2 we could do that as well. So this is kind of nifty. There are built-in transitions, which admittedly they're a little on the cheesy side. You want to use them sparingly. I'd normally just use the cut, but there are options available here. There's a time code generator. You can capture stills. You can set up recording to a USB Type-C solid state drive. I suppose you could use a hard drive, but your mileage may vary depending on what you've got and all that. But yeah, this is pretty slick software here. It definitely has a lot of options that I'm going to have to work through. I guess there's some transitions that you can customize here, but and set colors for your dips, different things of that nature. You could do chroma keying and other things like that. Of course, you've got fade to black options, and yeah, this is going to be a nice addition. And hopefully this will be something that I will be using quite a lot. So I guess as far as that goes, I will be I won't say retiring, but the capture box will see less use as a standalone device, um, and we'll get to using the ATEM Mini. Hello, Colette. Glad to have you aboard today. So, all right. Well, let me take a look at my notes here and see what else we've got. Um, we're at just before noon, and I've been through everything I wanted to, every main item I've wanted to talk about today. Um, we can come back here to Linux Lite and just explore a little bit. Um, let's see. Do that. Do this. All right. Let's do that. Okay. So, what do we have here? So, this is a very lightweight Linux. We go to system information. Of course, I gave this the same specifications that I'd give to any other VM. This is running with 2 cores, 4 gigs of RAM. It's running in QEMU on Proxmox VE. It is running Xorg. They haven't bumped this up to Wayland yet. There's environment variables. It's just got the one user that I've created. But this is a neat little application they've got here for the system information. It even has benchmarks. So if you click the button and don't move your mouse, it will hopefully give you some information about where your results in seconds. Lower is better. Okay, so there's the common KVM processor. So that's not bad, I suppose. Kind of interesting having the built-in benchmarks. Let's see. Oh, I'm not even showing that. Whoops. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, this does have benchmarks built in. If we do crypto to hash, higher is better. So this is scoring just under a first gen i7 920. CPU Fibonacci. Lower is better. And that did really well, 0.66. Okay, enough of that. So yeah, by default, it does have LibreOffice installed. This is, I believe, still in the 6 version, 6.4-ish, I believe. We'll find out here in a moment. 6.4.7.2. So nothing earth-shattering there. It's not super old, but considering that 7.3 just came out, not necessarily something you would want to use. You can get a flat pack, I believe, of LibreOffice. Um, okay, so they've got sample files that don't exist. That's interesting. Um, but yeah, this is just a good overall um, good bang for your buck type of Linux distribution. If you've got an older machine, maybe you've got a Core Quad or a Core 2 Duo sitting around collecting dust, or a first or second gen i-series processor sitting around collecting dust in a machine. This could breathe some new life into it. Um, it's not going to necessarily win any awards. I'm sure this would be quicker on actual hardware. I'm running this in a VM, but this is usable. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, but it would get your work done, help you get your work done. It's got an office suite. It's got all the necessities to do basic work. And especially for kids, it would be um, a good first Linux distribution to start with. So out of curiosity, it does show up my NAS boxes. Not sure what that one is. Light share. Okay. And one of my preferred tests for any given Linux distribution is to come into settings and printers, and I love how easy it is to add a printer to modern Linux distributions. So it detected my network printer, and it's going to search for drivers automatically. And that's fine. And I'm going to skip the test page. And just like that, my printer is installed and ready to go. Makes it pretty easy to use. So this is the system config printer cups configuration tool. It does come from Red Hat. I'm sure there have been some updates to it since 2012, but I suppose it's gonna work for what it needs to do. There are utilities to manage drives and media, and so this is just the minimum size virtual hard disk that Proxmox sets up, and just did a pretty straightforward install. So, is there anything anybody would like to see on Linux Lite? I might keep this live stream just a little bit shorter today, which will give me a chance to get a head start playing with the ATEM Mini Pro and to start getting it ready for future videos and live streams. I am very interested to see what I'll be able to do with this and how it will change change the way I record and the amount of time I have to spend on editing. because that's one of the big draws of this particular unit for a lot of people is, being able to do the transitions and different things directly. It should cut down on editing time and allow me to churn out more videos, which is something that I'm looking to do. My goal is 10 videos a month this year. I do believe I hit that in January. I'd have to double check my list of video titles, but I believe I hit that in January. February is getting off to a slower start, but I think I can rebound and get there. Yeah, I guess that kind of wraps up what I had today. So this might be a shorter live stream if nobody has any questions or comments that they'd like to throw out in chat. I'm okay with some of these going a little shorter. Not the end of the world there, but yeah, this has been kind of fun, and happy to have Colette joining us today. Probably the youngest person we've had watching on a given live stream, I would imagine. At least the youngest one that anybody has mentioned in chat. So that's good fun there. So I did this past week. I was able to put my fingers on my big list of topics for future videos, which is a document that I had started in December. I had previously put a bunch of sticky notes up on my wall in my office, and in December, when I was visiting friends in Illinois, I took all the sticky notes and compiled them into a document and started to do some organization and note taking on the different video ideas. And now that I put my finger back on that document, I can continue to move that forward and start to bring out some of those topics. So, oh, that's great, David. I'm glad she was happy to hear her name, and turns 3 next week. My youngest niece turns 13 on the 10th. So it's hard to believe. They do grow up fast, and that's just watching from the sidelines, being the uncle. Okay. How's the library project going? Did you get to push for Porteous? Yes. So I actually implemented Porteous at the library even before I did the video talking about it. So far, it's been received well. It's whenever you introduce something new like that to the library, it always takes a little bit of time for people to actually start using it. So it's going to take a little while. We need to get up some new signage to, let people know that we've got the catalog machine in the back and that they can use it to search for books on their own without asking at the front desk if they so desire. The nice thing is it keeps them from having to get a guest pass from the front desk. And it's locked down so that it only lets people go to the the catalog site and the interlibrary loan website, which in Michigan is the Michigan e-library. So I think it will be an asset going forward. There is a potential that I'll set up a second Porteous kiosk so that one is more in the front of the library, to get a little bit more visibility. And that way we've got two of them. We've got just good way to get things moving, and hopefully we will have people start using that. Welcome, Gary. So I did the video on Porteous, I don't know, week and a half ago. Maybe I can put my finger on it here real quick, like. I can drop that in chat. There we go. Once people figure it out, they'll use it all the time, I bet. Yep. It's still kind of a challenge with the plague that's still happening, and we've had more than our fair share of pushback on mask requirements and this and that in the library. But as a frontline worker in that fight, the library board makes the rules. I don't, and so I'm just following the directives handed down to me from above. But yeah, it's the catalog machine was originally running on a Windows 10N, which is one of the variations of Windows 10 they put out, and some of the stuff worked okay for locking it down in Windows. Some of it was hit and miss and would break with updates. And I'd heard about Porteous years ago, and I spent a couple of afternoons at the library experimenting with it in a virtual machine, getting familiar with the install process, and then put it on the actual machine and ran through the setup and did some testing, and have it ready to go. I do want to go back through the installer one more time. There's a couple of minor changes that I want to make, just to lock it down just a little bit further. Yeah, it's got some nice options for rebooting after a period of inactivity, and all kinds of things that you can do with it. So, definitely something to consider, for, I can see many different use cases where it would be useful. If you're a vendor of some variety and you're going to a trade show, you could have Porteous set up on a box that opens to a website to have people sign up for your mailing list, and different things like that. And that way you're not dedicating a Windows box for that when there's really no reason to do so, if all you're going to do is have a web browser installed on it and use it strictly for web things. Excuse me. Any other questions or comments? give people another couple minutes, and then we'll wrap this up for the day and see what we can do. Really useful nowadays for old hardware and just getting yourself out from ransomware and virus scenarios to deal with as IT. Absolutely. Great, Gary. I would be interested in hearing what you think about it. Feel free to leave comments on that video. You know, if there's some piece of the configuration that I missed or didn't spend enough time on, please let me know that. I'd be happy to do a follow-up and clarify anything that might need it, or, you know, bring it in as part of a live stream in a future week and you know, talk about it again that way. On that note, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for coming out. We are now at 3,153 subscribers as of this morning, or early afternoon, I suppose it is now, in the Eastern time zone anyways. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing where this adventure that I've got going with this YouTube channel is going to take me. I think I've got a good smattering of equipment now that will set me up for future endeavors. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm always interested in hearing feedback from all of you that are subscribers and participants in my live streams. So on that note, if you haven't done so already, I'd very much appreciate it if you take a moment to like, and I'm sure you're all subscribed already, but if there's anybody out there listening that is not, here's a little nudge to do so. There's some interesting stuff I've got in the works, and in the coming weeks, it will be unleashed upon you. So everybody, have a great Sunday. Enjoy your last day of the weekend. You know, spend some time with family and friends if you can, and it's safe to do so. If not, give them a call, give them a text message, you know, make contact, especially if it's somebody that is otherwise semi-isolated or living alone. You know, you could make a world of difference to that individual. And of course, don't miss out on David's live stream tonight. Let's see if I can pull up if there's a URL for that. I know it won't let you guys post anything like that. I do not see, and oh, there we go. There's an upcoming live stream. So if anybody wants a quick way to get there, here is the link to David's live stream for tonight. And as I mentioned, I may not be able to comment on that live stream at the beginning, but I should be popping in at some point during the live stream to say hello to everybody and participate a little bit. All right. On that note, everybody Have a great day, and hopefully I'll see some of you tonight in David's live stream, and maybe people will learn something. It'll be a good refresher for me as well. So, on that note, thank you once again. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.